Yesterday we learned about how industries started in India. Pictures are very important for a student, they help you remember. So here is a picture of labor, the people who actually make the industries work. Now when industry started, the problem was the artisans, so the people who were dependent on handicrafts, they were out of a job. When factories in India began production, the markets were flooded with machine goods. These are factories in India itself. So how could the weaving industries possibly survive? What would they do? So they had to shift to the factories, to the production centers in search of a job. And this is the rise of towns and cities. Population goes on shifting towards the towns and cities. The main reason is in search of a better job, a better income. And in this chapter, we are talking about livelihoods, how people are able to live and to sustain themselves and their families. Industrialization in India is directly responsible for this population shift. Even now, you find that that is not their real home. Their real homes, the real places where they live is in the villages. They just come to the towns and cities to find work. And you will always find a lot of work in industrial areas. The first point is of labor. This is perhaps the human element is the most important part of any industry. Throughout the history of India, the population shift has happened. In normal cases, people don't like to leave their homes and go outside to work. In most situations, they are compelled to do it. So this was a situation where towns and cities came up in India. Now they came up pretty fast actually. If you look at the way industrial centers have been growing, and even till now they are growing. Of course, for some time due to this lockdown, the population has actually declined. But at any point in any normal situation, in any healthy economic situation, there's always a steady flow of people going from their homes and villages, or rather their homes in the villages and in the rural areas to the urban areas. These are where the jobs are, the markets are. This is where the livelihoods, the income, the money is. Today we will look at the cotton textile industry in India, how it began, where it all began, and the people responsible. Now, looking at the history of cotton textile industry in India, it begins in 1818. Bauria Cotton Mills. Now, where is this place located? This is just about 15 miles south of Calcutta or Kolkata in a place called Fort Gloucester. Let me just show it to you on the maps and you could understand where is this place. In a map question, this is where you would have to point it on the maps. It was the first cotton textile mill started in India by the British, but it was a flop. It failed. So 1818, yes, historically, it has the distinction of being the first cotton mill, but it did not succeed. The real or the true foundation of India's modern cotton industry, we have to give credit to Kovasji Nanobhai Davar. These are the people who laid the foundation of business in Mumbai or Bombay. Okay, this is what he looks like. And the company that he established was the Bombay Spinning and Weaving Company. The year is 1854. So the first cotton mill established, yes, that is Bauria with an H in 1818. But the true foundation when India's modern cotton cloth industry was established was actually in 1854, and the credit goes to Kovasji Nanobhai Davar. Moving on, now in Ahmedabad, the first cotton mill was established in 1861. Ahmedabad, let me show you once again on the map. It is in Gujarat. Okay, moving on. Mumbai in Maharashtra and Ahmedabad in Gujarat, they emerged as the two rival centers of cotton textiles in India. So this is how cotton textile industry began, and as you can see, the two rivals or two centers competing. Competition is very necessary, not just in business and economics or in industry, but also in academics, in studies. Okay, next we'll look at the father of Indian industry. Jamsetji Nassarwanji Tata, born in 1839, passed away in 1904. Now he is also regarded as the father of Indian industry, and Nehru called him as a one-man planning commission. A great man with many achievements, and we can take this whole class just discussing Jamsetji Tata, but that is not the point here. Let us look at the field of cotton textile industry. Jamsetji Tata went to England and he learned it. Let's not say learned as the book says, but let us say he understood what they were doing and he brought it back to India. And then he founded the Empress Cotton Mill in 1887 at Nagpur. Remember the year 1887 and remember the place Nagpur. If you look at a map of India and if you had to pinpoint a place which is approximately right in the center, if you draw an X or a cross, it would be here in Nagpur. So the Empress Cotton Mill itself, let us briefly look at the picture. This is what it looks like. So in honor of Queen Victoria, the Empress Cotton Mill was established in 1887 at Nagpur, and it strengthened the progress of the modern cotton textile industry in India. By the last decade of the 19th century, out of 137 of cotton mills, by the time the British rule had ended, nearly 70% of India's cotton mills are in Maharashtra. One thing in history in your class 10 syllabus you have to remember is that the cotton mills of India and the rest of India were owned and managed mainly by Indians. But there was a competition from Japan. We got to understand the hard-working ethics or the work culture of the Japanese. Industrialization in Japan also gave competition to not just Indian cotton industry all over the world. The estimate in your book, let's go back to the book. We are, after all, preparing you for HSLC, not for IS exam right yet. But hopefully all this will be useful for you. Now, when the British came, initially it declined, but then it recovered. You really can't put a good product down. This is what the main point of today's lecture is. Now, this data is being updated time to time. The last update as on 2013, there are 1,900 cotton textile mills are there in India at this moment. So you have a brief history of cotton textile, and for today, this should be enough.